So now we have our floor plan and it's scaled correctly. So in this case, my floor plan along the top here is scaled to 23 feet. Next, we want to start working with something we haven't worked with before, tags. And the tags are located on the right hand side menu with what looks like a luggage tag. So you're going to click that. You're going to select the floor plan. So when it's selected, it'll have that blue line around it. We're going to click the plus button here, and that's going to make a new tag, and you're going to give this new tag a name and call it floor plan. We're using this so that we can turn the floor plan off later when we don't need it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to type in the name, and now I'm going to click this little pencil tool so that we know that whatever we do next is applying to this particular layer. Keep in mind that unless you're just applying something to a layer, you always want to have the untagged layer selected. Click the pencil tool, select the floor plan layer, and then click this tab next to it, which will say apply current tag to selection. And so we have the floor plan selected here, and I'm going to click that. And now I'm going to go up to the untagged layer, and I'm going to click the pencil tool there. So basically what's happened is that because we selected the floor plan and applied it to the floor plan layer, now when we turn on and off the eyeball on the floor plan, it will go away. And this is good because we actually want this to go away later. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to start to construct our house. To do that, go to your pencil tool, and on the inside here, and I'm just going to refer back to my plan, I know that this is 23 feet, and I'm just going to recount here 14 inches this way and 23 that way. And I think right here 11, so we have 14 and 11. So now I'm going to go into SketchUp and I'm going to zoom in. So again, I'm using my scroll wheel on my mouse, and I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to pull back, making sure that I am on the red axis or the green axis, depending on your orientation. I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to type in 20, and right there is 23 feet. I'm going to hit the escape key, and now I'm going to go to the end point here, and I'm going to go down to here, and I'm going to type in, and I'm going to click into that corner, and I'm going to type in 14 feet. And this one, I believe, was 11. So I'm going to click on the endpoint, pull over, click 11 feet. You'll notice that I'm drawing on the inside. Now, you can see that maybe this line here wasn't quite enough, so I could maybe bring it over a little bit more to the edge of my line here. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to bring it to right here. And now I'm going to come down. Now notice it is on the green axis coming this way. I'm going to click to anchor it. And now I'm going to come here, but what I'm also going to do, you see the green dotted line here? And I don't know if you all can see this, but you can see the green dotted line. That's letting me know that if I click here, I have a direct meeting point on the green axis to this line here, and you can see that. So I'm going to go from endpoint to endpoint. And once I've done that, I've enclosed the box. I have one more step I need to do with the tags so that I can actually put the SketchUp part of my floor plan onto a tagged label. I'm going to select this right here, and I'm just going to triple click it and make sure that everything is selected. I'm going to click the plus button, and this time I'm going to call this walls and floor. Now I'm going to click the pencil so that SketchUp knows that I want to be working with this particular layer. And now I'm going to go to that little button that says apply current tag to selection, and my floor is selected here. So I'm going to click that. And the other thing I'm going to do right now is I'm going to group this, and you'll see why I'm going to do that in a minute. When it's all selected like this, right click and say make group. When I go back and I select that main labeled tag, and I turn the eyeball on the walls and floor on and off, that will disappear. And it's grouped now, so it's not going to stick to any other thing that I'm working on. But because it's grouped, it means that anything else I need to do to it, I have to be in edit mode. That's going to be a very important piece as we move forward in developing our house in SketchUp. For the next part of everything that you're going to be doing to this floor plan, you're going to need to be in edit mode. So keep that in mind as we're working. Now I'm going to double click into this, and you remember that when you're in edit mode, you see that kind of dotted bounding box. Now I need to make the walls. So I'm going to use a tool over here that is under the push-pull tool, and it's this tool here called the offset tool. I'm going to click that, and I'm going to go along the edge, and you can see how you get the red box. I'm going to click, drag out, and we're going to type in 6 quotation for 6 inches to make our walls. So now all of a sudden you can see, if you go back to the pointer tool, now we have walls and we have a floor. Except now we can't see what's on our floor plan. In order to do that, triple click everything, and we're going to close the tag window, and we're going to open the inspector window. You might remember this. So actually we're in edit mode right now, so we have to just click once. When we click that and we have the solid inspector open, you're going to select X-ray. Now you can actually see through to your floor plan. And this is going to be important because you need to know where you're going to place your windows and your doors. So I'm now going to go into edit mode. Remember that we have two. We have the walls that are the outer part, and we have the inside, which are the floors. What I want to be working with now is I need to know how wide my doors are. Now, hopefully, when you were creating your floor plan, you can come back and you can look to see how wide your windows were. And in my case, a lot of these windows, they're all 3 feet. None of them are 4 feet. They're all 3 feet wide. We don't necessarily know how tall they're going to be, but we do know that they're 3 feet wide. The doors, I have a swinging hinge door here that's about 3 feet. I have a 6-foot slider here, and I've got my opening for my barn door and also my pocket door. In the floor plan, I'm going to start to lay out the interior walls and put in the areas where my doors and my windows are going to go. Let's start now with my bathroom because those are really the only interior walls that I have. I'm going to pull a guideline from the edge, and I'm going to kind of put it, and I'm going to kind of line it up with this wall. Now we know that the interior walls are going to be about 5 inches, so I'm going to pull a second guideline, and I'm going to type in 5 quote inches, and I'm going to do the same thing and put that in here. So this is the edge of my wall, and then I'm going to pull another guideline, 5 inches. That will now give me the guidelines that I need in order to draw in these walls. So now I'm going to take my pencil tool, and I'm going to use my pencil tool, snapping on the exterior red and green axis. I'm going to create those walls. So again, going to the intersections, clicking, and then dragging. And now I can see that I've put these walls in because they are now separate. Now what I need to do is I need to erase these little lines in between, and I'm going to erase my guidelines. Next, I have to make my openings. We said that my door openings were going to be 3 feet. So I'm going to use my guideline tool again, and I'm going to start to pull my guidelines for my walls. Now here is going to be my first guideline, and then I'm going to pull another one, and I'm going to type, this one is going to be 3 feet. Now I know where to draw my lines for the opening of the door. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click here and here, and then I'm going to come over here, click here and here. I'm going to zoom out and then zoom in, here and here, and here and here. And now I'm going to erase the lines I don't need. I'm going to erase those guidelines too because I don't. And so now I have the walls of my bathroom. Right here I have 3 windows that are all about 3 feet. And so I'm going to start to mark those. Now with the windows, I'm not going to delete them because they're not openings. And I'm also not going to delete my doors on the outer side, and you'll see why in a little bit when we get further into the project. Again, I'm going to use my guideline tools, and I'm going to pull a guideline approximately where I want the edge of that window to be, and I'm going to drop a guideline there, and then I'm going to pull another guideline 3 feet. So I'm going to type in 3 feet, enter. Now this tells me exactly where my windows are going to go. Now if I look at this, I think that personally I would prefer to have the window in the middle of this wall. And I can kind of see where this is, that it's not really in the middle of the wall. So I'm going to pull a guideline again, pull it from the edge here, and I am going to find the midpoint of this wall here, my inferencing, and drag it over there. Now what I'm seeing here is that where I placed my window was not exactly where I wanted it. So I'm going to delete this line because this is the middle of the inside of the bathroom. So I'm also going to delete this line because these are 3-foot windows. I'm going to pull a guideline that's 1 foot space 6 inches. And then I'm going to do that again and pull it the other direction. 1 foot space 6 inches and hit enter. Right here is where I want this window, and I want all of these windows to line up because they're sort of designed to work together. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put these in, and what I'm doing is I'm basically marking where those windows are going to go. And you'll see that once we have those lines in there, we can erase any of the extra guidelines, because as you go, it's a good idea to erase guidelines as you're working so things don't get too confusing. You can see here that we have windows that are all lined up. We can check it by selecting those individual. We can make sure that we actually cut those spaces. So now I'm going to zoom out, and I'm going to go around, and I'm going to add and make the sections for my other windows and the sliding patio doors and the hinge door. I'm going to fast forward the video, but keep in mind that I am always in the edit mode of this. I am not outside the edit mode when I'm doing it. You'll notice I'm putting a space between these two of about 6 inches. Now, I want these windows near the fireplace to be equidistant from the edge of the fireplace. You'll notice I just made the chimney here. So I'm going to measure the distance from the edge of the chimney here to this window, and then make it the same on this side. So I'm going to establish that 6 inches, and then I'm going to type over 6 feet because it's a slider that is 6 feet. Notice when I'm pulling my guidelines, I'm always pulling it so that it's on a tangent. You see that green or red tangent. Now I've put in everything. I'm not going to put the deck in just yet. I'm going to see how things look when I actually make this. But I'm going to erase all of my guidelines. And now we have all of our windows where we wanted to put them, and we have our doors and our sliders. At this point, you can stop running the inspection and click Stop Inspector, and then select out of your group just to double check that you know where everything is and that everything has been included in your floor plan. You can just double check it, make sure that when you go in the edit mode, make sure that you've accurately drawn those pieces in so that they're separate. It'll become very clear in the next part of this assignment whether or not everything was divided properly. It looks like everything here is pretty good. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to pull up the walls.